Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea, the concept that in music there are actually no wrong notes. And to prove it, we're going to go on a journey through 7 incredible cultures. So let's get into it. So have you ever sat down at a piano, or maybe picked up a guitar, and you're just frozen? Frozen by this fear of playing a wrong note. You know that feeling where you think just one little mistake means you're not a musical person. For a lot of us, that feeling is totally overwhelming. It can make music feel like this impossible mountain to climb, so we just give up before we even really start. But what if we've been thinking about wrong notes completely backwards? Okay, let's really break this down. Where does this fear even come from? Well, it all boils down to expectations and the musical rules we think we're supposed to follow. Think of it this way. Music is a lot like a language. It has its own kind of grammar. In English, you'd say a big green dragon, right? You wouldn't say a green big dragon. It sounds weird. Music is kind of the same. What we call a wrong note is usually just a note that breaks the grammatical pattern our ears are expecting to hear. The brilliant comedian Eric Morecambe absolutely nailed this idea in a classic sketch with the conductor Andre Previn. He says this famous line, and it just perfectly shows that context is everything. The notes themselves aren't wrong. It's just the order that's messing with our expectations. And hey, if you want to see that amazing moment for yourself, go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen. It's totally worth it. So this gets you thinking, doesn't it? What if a so-called wrong note isn't a mistake at all? What if it's just a visitor? A note from a totally different musical language, one that plays by a whole different set of rules. And that, right there, is the start of our journey. We are about to take a trip around the globe to explore 7 completely different musical worlds. Each one has its own amazing, beautiful way of making music, its own unique grammar. All right, our journey kicks off in China, which has a musical tradition that's thousands of years old. You see, instead of this 7-note scale we're used to in the West, a lot of Chinese music is built on these 5-note pentatonic scales. That's what gives it that distinct, open, and airy sound. They use these incredible instruments made of silk and bamboo, like the erhu, which sounds so soulful, and the flute-like dizi, with melodies that feel like they're pulled straight from nature. Okay, from China, we're jumping over to Egypt, where music is just woven right into the country's spiritual and historical fabric. At the heart of Egyptian music are 2 key ideas. Maqamat, which are these melodic modes used to create very specific moods, and Aika'at, the super intricate rhythmic patterns that give the music its drive. We're not talking about simple happy or sad keys here. This system is way more emotionally complex. Next up, we arrive in India, which is home to one of the most sophisticated and spiritual classical traditions in the world. Now, it's pretty much split into 2 major traditions, Hindustani in the north and Carnatic in the south. But here's the cool part. They're both built on the very same foundations. And those foundations are raga and tala. A raga isn't just a scale. It's a whole melodic framework just packed with emotion, sometimes even tied to a specific time of day or a season. Then you have the tala, which is the rhythmic cycle that holds it all together, creating this incredible space for improvisation. Our travels now take us to the thousands of islands that make up Indonesia, where music is this deeply communal, shared experience. You've probably heard of the shimmering metallic sound of the gamelan ensembles, but there's also the powerful rhythmic vocal chants of the Balinese kecak, and these hauntingly beautiful melodies from the suling, which is a bamboo flute. Okay, let's cross the Pacific and find ourselves high up in the Andes Mountains of Peru. The music of the Incas here is deeply, profoundly connected to the natural world around them. Wind instruments were everything. You have the haunting sound of the suku panpipes and the almost otherworldly sound of the quina flute. They were designed to sound like the voice of the wind, the earth, even the cosmos. Now, we journey to Iran, a land with a musical history that stretches back for thousands of years. The very heart of its traditional music is the dastiga system. It's this incredibly sophisticated collection of melodic modes, and each one has its own unique emotional flavor. Performers then improvise within that framework, and the result sounds less like a performance and more like a deep, personal musical conversation. And for our final stop, we're headed to Nigeria to experience the incredibly vibrant, rhythm-driven music of the Igbo people.
Here, percussion is absolutely king. It's powered by instruments like the earthy Udu claypot drum and the sharp ringing sound of the Kojin gong. You add in complex vocal harmonies and a classic call-and-response pattern, and you get music that isn't just for listening to. It's meant to be a shared, community-wide experience.
Whew. So after that incredible trip, what have we actually learned? Well, we've just seen 7 totally different but equally valid and beautiful ways of making music. This whole journey makes one thing crystal clear. The Western system of scales and chords, it's just one path. It's a wonderful path, for sure, but it is not the only path. Every single culture we just visited has its own rich, valid grammar for musical expression. And this leads us to the real takeaway here. The next time you hear a note that sounds wrong, try to remember it's probably not a mistake. It's an invitation. It's a doorway into a new soundscape, a whole different way of feeling something. It's a discovery just waiting for you. Which brings us to our last and maybe our most important idea. It's all about how we take this new way of thinking and apply it to our own lives, our own creativity. Think about it. If we stop being afraid of the wrong note and start seeing it as an opportunity, as a chance to discover something new, well, the possibilities are suddenly endless. So I'll just leave you with this question. What new sounds, what new melodies, what amazing new music are you going to discover next?